welcome to my YouTube channel, Julie McNeilcraft. So today I thought we'd play in my journal. I'm still sort of not properly unpacked from Telebox land, but I've been busy packing and travelling and all that sort of stuff, and I've not had a chance to play, and I'm just in the mood for playing. So I thought I would play in my Dina Wakley journal tonight. And I was going to have a look at handmade papers. So this is one of the things that you can do with Digis. So what I tend to do is, this is the handmade paper here, and I've taped it with masking tape, but like anything you've got, your washies or art tape or anything like that, to secure it. And then I would pop that through my printer, and then the printer would print it out, obviously, and then I have coloured this. So this was one that I had prepped because I made a bag in a live, which I'm just going to pop and get for you now. Okay, so during a live and crafting together with all brands, I did this. So this is a little tote bag, little canvas tote bag, and I did the exact same thing that I stamped this out, or so I printed this out and coloured her in with my gouache, and then I've got some big old stamps here, and I created this background. So when I did it, it was one of those sort of, I had to have lots of stages of, here's one I've prepped earlier, and so I had this little, I can't even remember her name now, I'm wanting to say Gloria, but it could be Gloria or Gabrielle, I'm not quite sure, but one of the Giraffelicious ones, and I've got her left, and I've got a couple of leaves, but not actually much. So I will be able to show you stamping and colouring on it. It's the sort of thing that showing you printing on it isn't going to probably work as well anyway. So yeah, I thought we would play with that. So I'm going to start off just by getting a bit of paint. Because we're working with this, I thought it works really well onto fabric. That's what makes it a little bit different. So I'll choose one of the fabric pages in my journal, and yeah, we'll have a play with that. Well, I was going to get some fabric paint, and then I've realised I've got a whole load of these acrylic gels from Pretty Gets Gritty that I have not as yet played with, and I've just briefly read the instructions, and it says it's a water-based acrylic texture gel with a bright pigment that dries with a pearl finish. It can be used on all primed and porous surfaces. Apply with a brush or a palette knife. After drying, it creates a dimensional finish which is waterproof and can be painted over. Drying or curing can take 30 minutes to 12 hours. So, natural drying recommended. So yeah, we'll see. It means we can always start this page and come back to it. So yeah, we'll just try this, and because this fabric is porous, it should work just fine. I'm going to try it with a palette knife. See, this, mind you, it says brush as well, so I might get my fingers in there as well. But basically, I'm just wanting to create a little bit of background colour to put my giraffe on. So we'll see how it's going on. It's going down absolutely fine, but I just thought it'd be interesting to do it not primed, and then what we could do on another page sometime together is try putting a bit of clear gesso down or something to see if it reacts any differently. Look at these colours though, they're just a bit delicious, aren't they? Perfect colours for a giraffe. I'm actually going to get my fingers in there. I'm trying to blend it a little bit, and I'm finding it slightly easier. I apologise for all the noise in the background. I'm still not in my studio. I have sort of set the goal of the beginning of January, but yeah, that might not happen. We'd also got some cheap windows and doors from somebody who was getting their windows done, and that was great, but now their work with COVID and all that has been delayed, so that means us getting the doors is delayed and all those sort of things. So we'll see how it goes, but these are just a bit yummy. This is a gorgeous colour. I like this one. This is Atomic Bomb. I love the names Lynette gives her. Lynette gives her products. They're just great. So basically I'm just trying to create a little bit of a almost like paint wash background, and then we'll have our gorgeous little giraffe sitting on that. It's just a good excuse to get your hands dirty. Let's hope it's not one of those products that goes off, eh? Like I've had an incident of that before. Right, I'm going to pop some of this pink in, and then I think I'm going to nice. And I would think I'm going to add some more of that neon-y green colour. So as I said, at the minute we're not thinking about anything overly, we're just going to, as I said, get some colour down on the page. And what I might do is, like, we've put this down on a fairly thin layer, so I can't see it taking that long to dry, but we could maybe do some stamping. Just going to bring this green out because I think I want this to be the predominant colour. I'll maybe do some stamping and colouring on the handmade paper, just so you can see how it reacts and how to colour on it, although I might speed up some of the process. And whilst I am stamping and colouring, that should give this background a little bit of time just to dry off naturally without us having to force dry it. The other thing that I have discovered with these canvas pages is if you do force dry them, actually I used one of these canvas pages on with a giraffe image before, if you force dry them they do tend to sort of warp quite a bit. The fibres in it sort of shrinks down, so it's probably best on all accounts just to leave that be. So I'm just going to do that. So I will go and clean my hands, and we will come back and do a little bit of stamping. Okay, so I have grabbed some stamps. I have got some of my flower stamps and some of Emma's jungle ones from Clever Prints. So we will just have a little play and see how we get on. I was going to use this nice big button stamp because it's very useful. It's quite nice and big, which will make it really easy to build up our project. So I just stamp the same as I would normally, and just put a bit of pressure on, allow a little bit of time for the ink to absorb into the papers. This handmade paper is from Dolly Dimples. I absolutely love it. If you're on the fence about it, I would go and get some, because speaking to Charmaine, I know that she cannot source this at the same price. So if she does manage to start bringing it back, it won't be at the price it is now, and it is honestly amazing, amazing stuff. You can do so much with it. I love it. And what I love about these handmade papers, it's like using a rice paper or a napkin in your work, so you can really layer it up. You can see all the different layers. It's got a semi-transparency to it, which makes your work nice and interesting. But you're also sticking with the designs that you choose. You're not having to go by a preset design that somebody else has come up with, and I love that. I think that is brilliant. So it's really, really bespoke to your needs, which is awesome. I was going to use this flower, but that's another polka dot one, so I'm going to see what's. I grabbed some of the Stamp-Lamentals Edition 2 stamps. Again, these are some of my stamps, and I'm just going to keep stamping until we have a selection of things to play with. So I'm going to come back once it's all stamped up. Okay, so I have now stamped all of those up. I've got a combination of my flowers, some of the Clever Prints embellishments, and then my little butterfly from the Prudence stamp set. And I am now just going to get my go washes out. I will probably put you on speed up for part of this process, but we will talk through the beginning stages of it, purely in that you are used to me using a lot of water when I use watercolours. I'm just going to turn this around so it's a bit more comfortable for me. However, we are going on to handmade paper. It's kind of like a rice paper, so it's not going to take the same abuse. I have to say, I have bought rice paper in the past. I bought a big roll of it, and I have found that this handmade paper does stand up to a bit more abuse than the rice papers that I've used in the past, which is another reason that I would highly, highly recommend it. If I remember, I will try and put the details in the description box below, so you can see that is taking a fair amount of water, but you know, you're not going to be able to completely flood it and wash it out, so you do need to be a bit more controlled as to what's actually on your brush, so that you're getting that variety of colour by sort of the intensity that you're putting on. You're not really going to be able to put water on and pull it out. You can to an extent, but not overly. So I'm just going to keep gradually working this, and I pick up some of the paint. I like doing this because then you're going to end up with random colours. It's from the same colour family, but it's just going to allow me to have a little bit of variety in my flowers and colours. So as I said, we still want that movement, so don't be afraid of it. It's not destroying, like I've not ripped a hole in that, I've put water in it and it is still nice and substantial. I've not gone through. So this stuff is really good. Obviously, like if I was to flood it with water, like that's me flooding it with water, you can see it's gone quite transparent. I've still not broken it actually, like there we go, we've got a fair amount there. I don't know if you can see that. I've still not broken it, but it's going to be more likely to rip as I am working. But even if you do end up getting it that soaked, just leave it to dry and it should go back. So as I said, I have found it a little bit stronger than stuff that I have worked with in the past. But yeah, absolutely, I don't know if you can tell, but I absolutely love this. I'm not quite sure that there's much more to say on this, so I am just going to continue as I am doing now, but I will pop you on fast forward so that you can still see the process. Okay, so that's those all painted up. I do need to wait for the bottom ones to dry a little bit. But I'm going to tear these out. Now it's easier to work with them in your pages if you're wanting that seamless look to tear. Now normally with rice paper, you normally have to wet it first to get a good tear, but actually this one works fine dry, and because of that you can actually get quite a good control. So what I'm just going to do is just keep tearing like that, and then the fact all those fibres are loose, as I said, really works in your favour later on, because it just means the edges of this disappear when you layer it all together, and then that's what you want, because it all looks as one then, rather than lots of little elements that have been put together. So that's me done one flower, and what I will do is continue to do all of those, and then we'll come back and try and put the page together. Okay, so I have torn some of those bits and bobs out, but not all of them because they're not all quite dry yet. So we'll start putting the page together, and if we need some more we can stop and get some more. So let's see how we go. I'm just trying to find an appropriate brush to get started with. These probably seem too small, but hey ho. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with putting our lovely giraffe down first, and then we will build. So I have got some fabric slap on here. I'm pretty sure that if you used any gel medium it would be absolutely fine, but I've got this, and you know, got all this stuff, I may as well use it up, quite frankly. So I'm going to put a little bit underneath that gel. The Pretty Gets Gritty gel has dried absolutely fine. I'm loving the neonness of it. Suits me because, yeah, I like things that are nice and bright. As we know, I don't tend to do subtle very well, do I? Right, let's get this down and start building it. So it's still going to be a journal page with lots of layers and lots of interest, but instead of like stencils and stamps, we are building it with these handmade papers. And as I said, once you get it down, just the nature of it, we have this sort of semi-translucent finish. It's almost a bit like when you use washi. So that paint that I used is going to come through, and then gradually, as I said, as we build the layers, we will have lots more of that. So hopefully we should have a nice fun page. And it's an interesting way of using your digis, because obviously I get asked that quite a lot, and we maybe feel that because it's gone through a printer that we are limited in what we can do. Now quite often a lot of things that we would maybe stamp onto, you can get a version that will go through your printer. So as I said, this wouldn't automatically go through the printer, but by taping it up, like I showed you at the beginning, just getting that little bit of masking tape and taping it on, we can put it in a format that will run through our printer absolutely fine. The other thing that I sometimes do with the handmade paper is just give it a little bit of an iron first. You don't have to, but I just find that quite useful. So I'm now going to try putting some of these flowers in. Now these flowers sort of bled over a little bit as I did them, but I'm not overly stressed about that because I'm going for a nice loose painterly feel. So see that we had a bit of the white paper there. In fact, there was loads of it, and it's layered over the giraffe, and we can still see her neck. So as I said, I absolutely love the effect that this gives, and I'm putting the medium underneath and over. So let's get a few more, and then we'll get some leaves as well to give a bit of greenery. So I'm just realising my book's just off the page a little bit. Oh, see, I'm loving that. I'm loving the way the two layers are crossing over, so you can still see the flower underneath. It's just awesome. Awesome, and very different, a bit of a different look. And these rice papers that you buy are absolutely stunning, but they can be really expensive, and then we can be a bit precious about wanting to use them because we don't want to ruin them and stuff. So make our own. This has literally just been ran through the printer or stamped on, and look at the amazing effect it is creating. So I'm not quite sure what else there is to say, and that it's going to be very repetitive, that I'm going to continue to be putting medium down underneath and then the medium again over it. I can just sort of reposition it a little bit if I want, like so. So I think because this may take a while, and also because it is a fairly repetitive process, what I may do now is just once again pop you on fast forward, because otherwise I feel it's sort of a video that you might get bored of quickly. So if you would have preferred that I kept it on real time, let me know in the comments and I'll remember that for future reference. As I said, just so this video isn't like 3 hours long watching me doing the same thing over and over, I will pop you on fast forward just now. So this is how it's looking so far. I think I'm probably pretty good to go actually. I'm fairly happy with it. I'd quite like to give it a black edging of some description and maybe put a sentiment on it, but it's looking really good at the minute, I think. I really like the effect. It's a bit different to stuff I normally do, but as I said, the layers and the interest is still there. But it is kind of fairly sopping wet right now, so I'm just going to pop it to the side and let it dry, and then we will come back and decide what to do next. Part of me is tempted to scrape a little bit of Crackle gel over it, and I don't know why I want to do that, but I do. Should we go for it? Okay, I'm not sure quite why I want to do this, but I think because I'm working with different textures and things that I don't normally, I'm just kind of curious, to be honest. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to try and attempt to put it through a stencil as well. Again, these are Lynette's Crackle gels. I keep saying I'll do a proper review on them. Maybe that's what I should film next. But they are also semi-translucent, which is just a bit cool. So I'm going to put some on because we're not going to lose all the work that we've just put down. So this is lemon, and then I may put... So we'll definitely have to leave this now till overnight, because I have tried heating this before. You do still get some really cool texture, but you'll get more of a bubbling than a crackle. So I'm now kind of coming in with Sundays. I don't know, I love this stuff. I love the fact this colours, but I love the semi-translucent. Again, because this whole project is about, you know, those delicate layers. Now let's see if I can do this with it. I probably should have let it dry before I did that, but there's no way I can wait for things to dry twice. That would take an incredible amount of patience that I don't have. That's actually looking that's quite cool. So I'm going to put a little bit over here as well. Yeah, I think because we've got that sort of semi-translucent layer thing going on, it's like, why not play with that a bit further? Why not see what else we can do? So again, I'm going with the lemon and the green because it's the sort of colours that are there. This is going to be like a really subtle element, unless we sort of decide to splash black over it or something to allow the crackle to come through. This is going to be really subtle, and I'm going to be very careful the way I peel this off because we've got lots of wet handmade paper under there that's going to want to tear. And I'm just going to clean it from the edges a little bit. And then what I may do is I will just clean, whoops, just snap my palette knife. I will just clean that over here. Oh, that's annoying. It's not even a cheap one, it's a proper, that's sad. Right, well, I'll clean with my finger right now then. So I'm just going to clean this off because we don't want to waste good crackle gel, and seeing as we've got the crackle on that page, it'll be nice when we finish that page that there's sort of some sort of carry through. So I'm off to wash my broken palette knife, that's very sad, and my stencil, and it'll be a morning I think before I am back because we will need to wait for this to dry. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like then. Okay, so that has dried and it's worked really well. We've got a fabulous crackle on that. I'm not sure how well that's going to show up. Let's see if we can zoom in a little. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see that crackle there, but it's just fabulous. And the fact that we've been able to get that crackle on a fabric. I also love the fact it's semi-translucent. If it was a different project, I would be looking at sort of putting ink in that to show the cracks, but I like the subtlety of it on this particular project. I'll put us back to our normal view. Okay, so that is how that is all looking. I think we're pretty much done. I am just going to give it a bit of a black edging. I'm just going to run my VersaFine clear around the edge because I'm not quite sure how well my black pen will do it. It is going to be a bit of a rougher black edge than what I am used to, but I think we can live with that a little bit. But I just find having a bit of a black edge helps to frame it. I may run the pen down the spine because I'm not sure how easily we will get the ink pad in. Yeah, let's get our pen for that. I have a big pile of stuff next to me that is going to topple over. Right, I'm just gonna go down with my pen. As I said, we're not going to get a perfect look to this because we're working on canvas, but it's something to add a little bit of frameage to it. We know I like to frame things, so I think that's probably us. And then let's see, do we have a sentiment that we could use? I'm just having a look. This is my sort of JMC box of tricks. So I do have some in here. I've got Shine Bright, possibly. The ones that I had printed out is, sorry, I have lots, like I've got these ones, but they were done, I can try it. These have been done on SAF mat, so they're like a sticker, but I'm not quite sure how well that will go onto the page. So we've got that, sometimes you need a different point of view. So let's try it, because these were the sentiments that actually came with the Giraffelicious set. But as I said, I printed these off on SAF mat, which is no longer available, which is very sad. But it's kind of almost like a vellum sticker. Trying to work out. Let's want it there, or should we have it standing? Have it standing out maybe. Right, let's go for there. Decisions. Right, so I'm going to actually, it's going on okay. I maybe need to grab a bone folder and we will just, what I might do as well is put some clear gesso. Yeah, I think it's going to need assistance. That is, I can feel that that's going to, actually, it might be alright if we just put it over it. I kind of want to put some clear gesso over it as well, just to sort of take away the shine a little bit. So we will just do that now. All my brushes are still by the sink, waiting to be cleaned. So I'm on different ones now. But yeah, that'll just sort of take the sheen of that sticker off a little bit. But yeah, it kind of works. It's still a bit shiny for me, so let's get a bit more of that on. And this is a good trick if you know you're using something and you don't like. I quite often do this with stickers because I do have a bit of a thing. Although the gesso seems to be pulling the print off. I'm getting a bit of a grey hue, which I'm not overly liking. But I will fix that in a minute. So let's just dry that with the heat gun. And what I will do is I will come in with some of the paints that we originally started with and sort of blend some of those on, see if that makes a difference to that. But hopefully it's just showing you a different way of using your, so as I said, she was a Digi stamp, so this technique can be done with both your stamps and your Digi stamps, which is just a bit awesome, and it's something a bit different. So I'm just going to get some of these paints that we originally started with, because now we've got this sort of strange grey hue that I'm not overly thrilled with, and I'm also just sort of wanting to take away the shininess of that. But yeah, we'll just disguise that just now. So that's the thing, never think, oh, I've ruined it. It just means we just keep going till we are happy. So and again, because this paint is semi-translucent, we can take it over that sticker and we're still going to be able to read it, which is just a bit awesome. It's a bit cool. Now I'm just adding bits in various places so it marries and it works. So we've still got the layout. Let's get some of that pink in there as well, and then I think we are going to call this one done. So it's actually quite a easy page to put together. Oh, I better go answer that. Okay, well that was an annoying automated thing that was saying there that we have seen some fraudulent activity on your Amazon account. You're like, press 1. It's like, yes, I don't think so. So I will be going to check our Amazon account, but I never do it through those things. We've had a few interesting ones recently. I had one telling me that got an email saying the post office had some letter held from the HMRC, and I was like, oh, but yeah, that turned out to be a fraud thing as well. And what really gave it away was the delivery time was 9:30, and both of us happened to be in the house at 9:30. So, so anyway, enough waffling about scam phone calls. It's not what you tuned in for today, I don't think. Okay, so that is my page all finished. I hope you have enjoyed crafting along with me today. If you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I'll be back again with you very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.